They did not arrive as kings, and they did not ask for permission. They came from the sea like a storm no one had ever seen before. Long, narrow ships cut through the cold waters at impossible speed, carrying men who seemed to fear neither death nor God. To the people watching from the shore, these figures were not invaders. They were omens. And by the time the first screams echoed across the coastline, it was already too late to run. The Vikings did not attack great fortified cities. They chose targets that were rich, peaceful, and completely unprepared. Monasteries were among their favorites. These places held gold, silver, food, and no soldiers to defend them. They struck at dawn, when the mist still covered the land, and within minutes entire communities were slaughtered. Monks who had never held a weapon were cut down where they stood. Buildings were set on fire. Anything of value was taken. Anyone who could be useful was dragged onto the ships in chains. Across Ireland, England, and the coasts of France, stories spread of villages that disappeared in a single morning. What made the Vikings truly terrifying was not only the violence, but the speed. They came without warning and vanished just as quickly, leaving behind smoke, corpses, and silence. Survivors spoke of warriors who fought like they felt no pain, men who laughed during battle, and executions carried out publicly to send a message. Fear traveled faster than their ships. In many places, people abandoned their homes simply because they heard the Vikings had been seen days away. Entire regions lived in constant anticipation of the next raid. But the Vikings were not mindless destroyers. Behind the brutality was a calculated strategy that few at the time understood. After the first wave of terror, they began to return, not only as raiders, but as settlers and traders. They realized that controlling a land was far more profitable than burning it. Instead of attacking the same places repeatedly, they established bases near the coasts and rivers, turning them into permanent settlements. One of these settlements would become the city of Dublin. From these bases, the Vikings built something even more powerful than their reputation, a vast trade network that stretched across Europe. They traded silver, weapons, animal pelts, jewelry, and above all, slaves captured during their raids. Their routes connected Scandinavia to England, Ireland, France, Eastern Europe, and even the Middle East. Viking merchants were soon traveling further than most king's messengers ever could. They were no longer just warriors from the north. They were becoming a dominant economic force. Over time, something unexpected happened. The same people who once feared them began to live beside them. Vikings married local women, learned local languages, and integrated into the societies they had once attacked. They did not need to conquer cities with swords anymore, because they were slowly taking control from within. They became landowners, leaders, and rulers. In many regions, Viking bloodlines merged with royal families. What began with fire and terror slowly transformed into influence and power. The Vikings had discovered that fear opened the door, but patience allowed them to walk inside and stay. They did not conquer Europe in a single war. They did it raid by raid, trade by trade, settlement by settlement, until one day the people realized that the invaders from the sea were no longer outsiders. They were now part of the land itself, and in many places, they were in control.